So you could have gone to go see the movie in 3 different locations and walked out of there with 3 different experiences each time.
We see the workers putting in that work, aka they're getting infected. This is the scene I was talking about earlier. This fight, while it's not action-packed, displays both actors' physicality and timing. Good on them, but there can only be one victor, and that's...
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
How's it going, everyone? It's your host, Gio. For those of you returning, welcome back. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. Our spooky summer continues with a disturbed discovery intrigue. For today, I thought we could use a change in scenery, so I'm heading upstate to New York, and we're going to be checking out 1971's I Drink Your Blood, written and directed by David Durston. A small rural town is rocked when a group of satanic-worshipping hippies take refuge. Things only get worse when they start messing with young Pete's older sister, Sylvia, taking revenge into his own hands. He infects the hippies with rabies in these meat pies. All hell breaks loose after that as we try to fight off and survive these rabid hippies. 1970s exploitation at its finest. For those of you brand new here, an exploitation film is a film that deems to capitalize on a niche genre, popular trend, or sensational content. Which in this case we're going to be exploiting hippies and gratuitous violence. Which, by the way, fun fact, I Drink Your Blood was one of the first films to ever get an X rating for its violence rather than nudity. For those of you listening closely, you may have noticed that I said this movie came out in 1971. For those of you who know their history, would you mind telling the class what happened 2 years prior in 1969?
He has not been named in the murders of actress Sharon Tate and at least 7 other persons, but police say he's the leader of a hippie group whose members committed the crimes.
Wanting to capitalize on the public's intrigue on this horrific case, David pens the story, creating a Charles Manson-like character named Horace Bones, who's played by Bhaskar Roy Chaudhary. He also drew inspiration for the rabies virus from a bizarre incident that happened in Iran. He had read in a news article that a pack of rabid wolves had broken into a schoolhouse infecting 19 children and 2 adults, even going as far as to contacting the doctor that treated the kids, really wanting to gain some of that expertise knowledge. Upon its initial release, it was met with mixed but fairly positive reviews, most of which pointed to Bhaskara's performance as Horace. When asked about the audience's reactions to the violence, David Durston said, "I think the reason audiences reacted to it so dramatically was because it was a violent story that could probably have happened. The violence was not far-fetched or unmotivated. The more audiences can identify with the situation that might happen to them, or it could happen, the bigger the scare." I don't know, would you guys believe a story about a satanic hippie commune infected with rabies terrorizing a small town in rural America? Well, that's what we're going to go ahead and find out today, so guys, let's go ahead and tune in, and drop out.
Roll it, Lou.
Our film begins with the hippies performing what David Durston recalls as an actual satanic ritual that was taught to him by an ex-Satanist, even down to Horace's speech. It's all 100% true and a normal practice at the time. While on the topic of Horace, Bhaskar did not want to kill the chicken that was used in the ritual. Instead, Tide Kearney, who plays Andy, did the honors. During the ritual, Horace spots a girl named Sylvia. She makes a run for it but doesn't get very far. 2 cult members, Rollo and Shelley, catch up to her. While we're not shown it, they abuse of the poor girl. The following day, her brother Pete and Mildred find poor Sylvia. Enough about them though, let's get back to the hippies, who are having a bit of car trouble. Left with no choice, they travel on foot, not before pulling a little prank on Shelley over here. Meanwhile, they make their way into town. Mildred and Pete bring Sylvia to Dr. Banner. No, not that one, although I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. Fearing it might have been one of the construction workers out at the dam, Mildred heads up to investigate, taking Pete along with her. Once they arrive, they run into this handsome man named Roger, who immediately begins to suck face right in front of Pete. Look at this freaky little 10-year-old. While they head inside for some more privacy, Pete's outside serving up some hungry workers. After their conversation, Mildred asks Dr. Oakes to accompany her so they can check up on Sylvia. Back with the hippie group, they make it into town and there's already problems within the group.
Horace Bones, sometimes I wonder about you. Better pray I forget you ever said that.
At the same time, Mildred, Pete, and the doctor arrive into town. Horace and fellow member Molly pull up to the bakery buying some delicious meat pies. Look at my guy Pete, suspicious of these weirdos. Anyways, they head down to the abandoned hotel taking refuge for the night. Pete follows behind them, warning them about the rat infestation. But these Satanists don't give a fuck. They go on to hunt and kill rats for fun. Horace even declares whoever collects the most rats will become ruler for the night. So Rollo scares the fuck out of Pete with his ginormous collection of rats. Looks like Rollo's gonna be supreme ruler for the night. Later on, he gives a speech about removing fear within the group so there's no misunderstandings. As he's saying it, he's looking directly at Shelly. Hold that thought, guys. Sylvia's awake. She confides in Doc Banner about what exactly happened to her. Pete overhears the conversation. In a rage, Dr. Banner grabs a shotgun and goes to confront the cultist. Speaking of, they got Shelly tied down, marking him as a pig.
In which, by the way, in the commentary track, David Durston has also recounted that this ritual was also a part of one of the satanic rituals he had learned back in the 70s, where they would essentially tie a member, cut the bottom of their feet, and then just dangle them like a piñata while blood rained on the rest of the cult members.
While this is going on, Mr. Banner arrives to witness the madness. Sucks for him though, he gets the crap beat out of him. They also drug the old geezer with LSD. Horace sends out the seductive member to distract Pete, but he's having absolutely none of it. Horace then shows up wanting to deal with the situation himself, but before we could see something we shouldn't, the ladies let Dr. Banner aka Grandpa Banner go.
Before we continue on with the movie, I wanted to quickly touch up on the scene that was actually cut in the original X-rating version of the movie. It shows Dr. Banner hallucinating on LSD that Pete's and Sylvia's parents have come back from the dead. Pete's obviously a little confused by this, while Grandpa just goes ahead and shushes them out. For whatever reason, the studio decided to cut this from the original cut of the movie, which is a little disappointing because as far as I'm concerned with other than Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, this is probably one of the most accurate depictions of LSD I've seen in a film. All in thanks to David Durston, who actually did try LSD back in the 70s, but it was in a controlled environment with doctors standing by.
Anyways, we've arrived to the moment we've all been waiting for. Pete takes his grandpa's shotgun and kills the rabid stray dog. Pete heads back home to grab some supplies, heading back to the dog and extracting its infected blood. So the following morning he can infect the hippies when they come looking for something to eat. Cut to them munching out on the meat pies, all except Andy, who heads to Sylvia's place, having themselves a nice little chat. Looks like the meat pies are starting to take effect, everyone feels sick, and Horace especially starting to look like shit. But before they can turn, let's quickly go check up on Mildred and Roger.
And I still love you, even if you are a stubborn bitch.
Don't bother, Mr. Davis.
You know what? Never mind.
At night, the first one to fully succumb to the virus is Rollo, who mercilessly stabs Shelly. And might I add, what a performance from George Patterson, who plays Rollo. Him and Bhaskar share a great scene together that really shows both of their talents. But for right now, Rollo tries to attack the group, settling for Shelly's foot.
When it came to the amputation, it looks fairly real because they actually only had about 1.5 inches of room from the prosthetic leg, and Alex Mann, who plays Shelly, is real leg. So that chop had to be precise.
Rollo isn't done terrorizing the group, giving chase to the blonde member. Horace begins to turn, running into Mildred, who tried to enter the bakery, just making it out in time. She makes it back to Dr. Banner's place, not without seeing these two on the side of the road.
While these two are scraping off blood for research, we get another cut sequence from the original movie which shows Andy and Sylvia interacting. This really has no relevance to the plot other than Andy telling his situation to Sylvia, but let's go ahead and move on.
The blonde hippie is picked up by these macho men who don't mind giving her a lift, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. The horn dogs are dropped off at the hotel, meanwhile these two head to the bakery.
Come on, Rat. I've some cheese for you.
There seems to be no one at the bakery, so the fellas head back. Too bad there's no one there. Well, there's Shelly, but he's too busy being dead. Understandably, construction worker number 2 is scared shitless, however, construction worker number 1 argues to check the whole place in case Mildred is in trouble. This leads them into a trap set up by Horace, who racks up a double kill.
Which seems like the perfect time to bring up the movie's soundtrack, which was composed by Clay Pitts. He uses a mix of traditional soundtrack and using synthesizers, which I think he uses perfectly in the film, used to impact the severity of the virus. It kind of reminds me of like in video games, you know, when you're either infected or really low on health and it's this blaring siren that's urging you to go look for help. It's kind of like that. Or like in this scene specific where Bhaskar is about to stab the construction worker, and you can slowly hear this pitch going up and up and up, which indicates to us, the audience, that shit's about to go down.
Anywho, back with the lovebirds, they're interrupted by Pete, who tells Sylvia and Andy the truth about the meat pies. After the little fun, the workers head back to the cabin with the blonde tagging along. While that's going on, Dr. Banner is visited by Roger, who informs him that the blood sample from earlier shows signs of rabies. While he explains this to Roger, we see the workers putting in that work, aka they're getting infected. This was also another scene that was removed from the original cut that would have explained to us, the audience, how the construction workers were infected by the virus.
Meanwhile,
Rollo is off wandering with a rabbit. Meanwhile, Molly and the mute girl stop by this lady's house, only for the mute girl to kill the lady. Well, damn. Horace somehow makes it to a snake farm, killing both the owner and the snake. Roger is stopped by Dr. Oakes, who shows him the dead blonde cultist, only to be attacked by the infected workers on their way back. They make a run to the river, just barely making it out alive. These three make it across the woods, spotting the workers. Look at them go. They run into Molly, who's desperate for help. Andy gives her the unfortunate news, leaving her to die. They make it to the same river from earlier when Rollo appears out of nowhere. Luckily, they make it to safety. The trio eventually make it to Grandpa Banner's house. Too bad for them, he's already dead. No, Pete, don't look. It's not worth it. Poor Mildred is being stalked by Jaden Wong, who decides to burn down the bakery when suddenly Horace arrives and declares her dead. Jaden instead turns the gasoline on her, not giving Horace the satisfaction. These three also show up. Damn, everybody's showing up to the party. Look, even Rollo's here. Rollo, however, is more concerned with running the 1v1 with Horace. This is the scene I was talking about earlier. This fight, while it's not action-packed, displays both actors' physicality and timing. Good on him, but there can only be one victor, and that's Rollo. While those two are going at it, the trio try to enter the bakery, but Mildred won't let him in. Well, that's until Andy gets decapitated, then they try to shelter in the basement. But one of those sick fucks break in. Mildred makes quick work of him though. They run up to the car while Mildred tries to fight back the infected with a hose, but it's no use. She ends up getting bitten. They eventually flip the car over. Nearing the end of the film, the whole police force show up and let loose. We get another cut sequence that shows Mildred's condition after the whole fiasco. Ending on one last cut sequence, Pete calls the police, declaring he's committed a terrible, terrible crime. The police officers think he's joking, so they just leave, ending the film with Pete wandering off into the woods.
Well, it's nice to see after 50 years the police haven't changed a bit. They either show up too late or they don't do anything at all. But I'm not here to talk about the fact that our country is slowly becoming a totalitarian country and slowly stripping away our rights and identity until there's nothing left but mindless zombies who are complicit with the atrocities committed by our government. Before I go over my favorite and least favorite parts of the movie, I want to quickly talk about some stuff behind the scenes and some things regarding the movie as well. The film was originally written with the title Phobia before Jerry Gross, the producer, went behind David's back and rewrote the title into I Drink Your Blood, which didn't really sit right with David because there's absolutely no blood drinking at all. Sadly for David, Jerry Gross would go behind his back once again when it came to distribution, because David Durston wanted the movie to play in drive-in theaters, kind of give it that 1950s monster vibe. But Jerry Gross was thinking bigger. He wanted to release the movie in theater houses. Going even further, he released it as a double feature with another film originally called Zombie, which he had changed to I Eat Your Skin. Which, by the way, I have a Blu-ray, so here's the little poster that goes with it. This is basically what you would have seen. I personally haven't seen the movie yet, but when I do, I'll go ahead and do a little mini review and post it on here for you guys. As for the cast, they were mostly unknown and inexperienced actors, who for a lot of them was actually their first motion picture. Some may have started as stage actors, while others had never acted before in their life. The cast was also praised for being diverse, which was completely unintentional, by the way. They just happened to hire the best of the best. The obvious standout is Bhaskar and George, who play Horace and Rollo respectively. And, after many rewatches, Riley Mills, who plays Pete. There's a funny story Bhaskar and Tide tell about Riley in the movie's commentary. Story goes, Riley was a mischievous and unruly kid on set. One day Bhaskar got so fed up with him that he had to let him know, hey, Horace isn't just a character I play. This is who I am in real life, so unless you want to be my victim, I suggest you behave yourself and listen to the adults. Safe to say, this scared the shit out of Riley into performing really, really well. If that wasn't enough, he also sprained his ankle during the scene when these three were on the river. The last actor I'd like to bring up is Lynn Lowry, who plays the Mute Girl, because you can't talk about this film, The Crazies, and Shivers without bringing her up. She had originally auditioned for another character that was already taken. David, however, not wanting to lose such a photogenic face, created a character of the Mute Girl and wrote her into the story. Good on him, because just look at this face. This frame alone deserves to be hung up in a museum. While we're on the topic of actors, a lot of these extras in the movies were actually locals, who were enthusiastic about being in the film. For example, all the policemen that were used in the film were actually real policemen from the area, sheriff included. As for our construction workers, they were art students from a community college. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows with the locals. During a crucial scene, an actress needed a bit of motivation. However, one of the locals misunderstood the situation, calling the authorities. However, the whole situation was resolved pretty quickly. For the location of the movie, it was shot in Sharon Springs, New York, which in and of itself was a ghost town, so it was perfect for shooting. Using the whole town to their disposal, they destroy a hotel called the Roosevelt, which was the same one they destroy in the movie. Another interesting detail about the movie is how they made the blood so vibrant and red, using red color dye, caramel syrup, and gin. The most vibrant blood I've seen since like Torso and all those Italian genre movies. As for the foaming from the mouth, they used shaving cream. Yuck. But at the intro, I had mentioned that this movie was possibly the first movie that was ever X-rated for its violence. The X rating was eventually replaced once the porno business began to boom. It was replaced by the NC-17. With an X rating, the movie was bound to get chopped to shit. I've gone over cuts that the studio made to the film, but when it came to distribution, David Durston gave the go-ahead to drive-ins to cut the film to their liking. So you could have gone to go see the movie in 3 different locations and walked out of there with 3 different experiences each time, which would have been a very intriguing experience. Imagine going to go watch a movie like The Odyssey on your first watch, and every scene involving Argo, the dog, was completely cut out. And then imagine going to go watch it a second time, and now every single scene involving Argo was put back. But now when it comes to the ending, there's 15 minutes missing. You sort of get the idea. I, for one, am happy with the X-rated finished product. Alright guys, for my least favorite part of the movie is not a damn thing. I love the movie just the way it is. Maybe a little bit more violent. You can never go wrong with some violence. My favorite part of the movie has to be the idea of using the rabies virus being the cause of the violence. I'm a huge fan of zombie movies, and using a virus and using rabies as the main cause of the infection is a detail I absolutely love. I think it is a little bit underutilized because we do have a cure for rabies, so unless it's in a remote area like this, the plot point becomes irrelevant, which is a damn shame. It makes for great horror visuals. Alright guys, I think that's gonna do it for today, so tell me, would you guys believe a tall tale like this? If this one doesn't convince you, maybe consider our next film in our spooky summer watch. We're gonna be heading down to the Amazon rainforest, where apparently a group filming a documentary have gone missing. We're joined by a professor named Harold Monroe, who's been tasked to investigate the situation. If you already don't know, I'm gonna be checking out 1980's Cannibal Holocaust. Are you excited? Because I know I am.